A bank loan officer called me at work asking to verify that Gerald Patterson owned 4 rental properties in Austin worth over $1 million. Gerald Patterson was my father-in-law, and those properties were mine, purchased with my money, titled in my name alone. What Gerald didn't know when he committed loan fraud was that banks verify ownership claims, and I had 6 years of property records proving he was lying. Before we continue, make sure you subscribe, like, and share this story, because what happens next will leave you absolutely stunned. Ms. Flores? This is Catherine Webb from United Capital Bank. I'm calling to verify some asset information for a loan application. I was at my desk at the architecture firm where I worked, reviewing blueprints for a commercial project. I'm sorry, who? United Capital Bank. We have a business loan application from Gerald Patterson, and he's listed you as a reference who can verify his real estate holdings. My pen stopped moving. Gerald Patterson? Yes. According to his application, Mr. Patterson owns 4 rental properties in the Austin area with a combined value of approximately $1.2 million. He listed you as his property manager who can confirm ownership and rental income. I set down my pen carefully. What properties specifically? She rattled off 4 addresses. 2847 Riverside Drive, 1523 Manor Road, 4209 Guadalupe Street, 891 East 6th Street. My properties. Every single one of them. Ms. Flores? Can you verify this information? Those properties aren't owned by Gerald Patterson, I said, my voice steady despite my racing heart. They're owned by me, Adriana Flores. I purchased them over the past 6 years. I am the sole owner on every deed. Silence on the other end. I'm sorry, could you repeat that? Gerald Patterson doesn't own those properties. I do. He's my father-in-law. If he listed them as his assets, he's committing fraud. I see. Ms. Flores, would you be willing to provide documentation? Absolutely. Give me your email. I'll send copies of all 4 property deeds within the hour. After I hung up, I sat there for a moment, letting it sink in. My father-in-law had tried to use my properties I'd bought with my own money, managed with my own time, built with my own effort, to secure a $200,000 loan. I pulled up my property files on my computer. I kept meticulous records. Purchase agreements, title documents, mortgage records, though 3 of the 4 were now paid off. Tax assessments, everything. I'd started my real estate investment journey 6 years ago when I was 28. My first property was a small duplex on Riverside Drive. I'd saved for 3 years for the down payment while working as a junior architect, living in a studio apartment, driving a 10-year-old Honda. I'd lived in one unit and rented out the other. Used that rental income to save for the next property. Bought the Manor Road house 2 years later. Then Guadalupe Street. Then East 6th. For properties. Combined current value. Probably $1.3 million, actually. The Austin market had exploded. Combined equity. Approximately $780,000 after mortgages. All of it mine. Not a single dollar from my husband, Cameron. Not a single signature from his father, Gerald. I'd worked for this. Sacrificed for this. Built this portfolio property by property. And Gerald had tried to steal it with a pen and a fraudulent loan application. I scanned every deed, every title document, every tax record. Sent them all to Catherine Webb at United Capital Bank. Then I called my husband. Cameron was a middle school science teacher. He'd be between classes, probably in the teacher's lounge. He answered on the 3rd ring. Hey babe, what's up? Your father just tried to commit loan fraud using my rental properties as collateral. What? I explained the phone call. The loan application. The false asset claims. Cameron was silent for a long moment. He listed your properties as his? All 4. Told the bank he owned them. Told them I was his property manager. Used their value to qualify for a $200,000 business loan. That's insane. Why would he? Cameron stopped. The restaurant. What restaurant? Dad's been talking about opening a restaurant. Some barbecue place. He's been obsessing over it for months. Mom keeps telling him they can't afford it, but he won't listen. So he decided to pretend he owned my properties to get loan approval. I guess so. God, Adriana, I'm so sorry. Did you tell him about my properties? I mean, I've mentioned that you own rental properties. I'm proud of you. But I never gave him addresses or values or anything like that. He knew the exact addresses. He knew the approximate values. Cameron was quiet. He was at our house last month. When you were at that conference in Houston. He helped me fix the fence, and we were in your office looking for tools. Your property binder was on the desk. My property binder. The one with all my addresses, purchase prices, current valuations, rental income statements. Everything someone would need to fabricate ownership. He photographed it, I said, realization hitting. I didn't see him do it, but yeah, that's probably what happened. Cameron, your father committed fraud. He tried to use my assets to secure a loan he wouldn't qualify for otherwise. I know, and it's inexcusable. What do you want to do? I already sent the bank proof that I own the properties. They'll deny his loan. But I don't know if I should report this to the police or... Report it, Cameron said firmly. Adriana, I love my dad, but what he did is illegal. If you don't report it, what's to stop him from trying again? With someone else's assets. Your mom is going to be upset. My mom enables his terrible decisions. This needs to stop. I called Catherine Webb back. Ms. Webb, I sent you the property documentation. Did you receive it? Yes, and I've reviewed it. Ms. Flores, these documents clearly show you as the sole owner of all 4 properties. Mr. Patterson's loan application contains false information. What happens now? We deny the loan immediately, and we're required to file a suspicious activity report with federal banking regulators. Loan fraud is a serious crime. I want to file a police report as well. That's your right. Would you like me to send you copies of his loan application? It might help your case. Yes, please. The application arrived in my email 20 minutes later. I read through it, my anger building with every line. Gerald hadn't just listed my properties. He'd fabricated rental income statements, created fake tax returns showing property income, listed himself as owner-operator of a real estate investment business. All of it false. All of it using my actual properties, my actual addresses, my actual rental income figures that he'd copied from my binder. He'd even listed me as his property manager with my real phone number, assuming the bank would call, and I'd just, what? Go along with it? Confirm his lies? Did he think I wouldn't notice? Or did he think I'd cover for him because we were family? I called the Austin Police Department and asked about filing a fraud report. They directed me to the Economic Crimes Unit. Detective Marcus Thompson took my statement over the phone, then asked me to come in with documentation. I went straight from work, bringing printed copies of everything. Property deeds. Gerald's loan application. The bank's verification request. My original purchase documents showing dates of acquisition. All before I'd even met Cameron, let alone married into the Patterson family. Detective Thompson reviewed everything carefully. This is pretty clear-cut fraud. He falsely claimed ownership of assets valued at over $1 million to secure a loan. That's a second-degree felony in Texas. What happens next? I'll file a report and forward it to the DA's office. They'll decide whether to prosecute. Given the dollar amounts involved, they probably will. You'll need to give a formal statement. And if I don't want to press charges? I asked, even though I already knew my answer. Honestly, that's between you and your family. But understand, he did this to you today. He might do it to someone else tomorrow. People who commit financial fraud usually don't stop after one attempt. Then I want to press charges. I drove home, dreading the conversation I knew was coming. Cameron was already there, pacing in the kitchen. I called my dad, asked him about the loan application. What did he say? He denied it at first. Said I was confused. Then when I told him the bank had called you, he changed his story. Said it was a misunderstanding. That he thought the properties were family assets since you're married to his son. They're not family assets. They're my assets. I bought them before I even met you. I know. I told him that. He said I was being technically correct, but missing the bigger picture. That family should help family. That you wouldn't even have those properties if you weren't stable because of our marriage. I laughed, a harsh, bitter sound. I bought my first property 3 years before I met you. I was stable because I worked my ass off and lived below my means and saved every penny. Your family had nothing to do with it. I know. I told him that too. He hung up on me. My phone rang. Gerald. I answered on speaker so Cameron could hear. Adriana, we need to talk about this misunderstanding. It's not a misunderstanding. You committed fraud. That's a strong word. I simply listed some properties on a loan application. Properties you don't own. Properties you've never owned. Properties I purchased with my own money. That's fraud, Gerald. You're being dramatic. The bank called you to verify. You could have just confirmed. Confirmed your lies? Committed perjury for you? No. We're family. Family helps each other. Family doesn't steal each other's assets. Family doesn't commit fraud using each other's property. Family asks permission. I would have asked, but I knew you'd say no. So you decided to lie instead? That's not how this works. Adriana, please. I need this loan. The restaurant is a great opportunity. Then qualify for it with your own assets. Not mine. I don't have assets. I have a mortgaged house and car payments. You have 4 properties just sitting there, generating rental income, appreciating in value, building my retirement. They're not just sitting there. They're working investments that I spent 6 years building. And I'm asking you to leverage them to help me. No, you're not asking. You already tried to use them without permission. That's called theft. This is ridiculous. Cameron, talk to your wife. Cameron's voice was cold. Dad, you committed a crime. Against my wife. You don't get to ask me to smooth this over. I'm your father. And she's my wife. The person you just tried to defraud. I'm not choosing sides. You already chose by lying and stealing. Gerald's voice rose. This is because of her, isn't it? She's turned you against your own family. No, Dad. You did that when you tried to use her properties for your loan. This ends now. I hung up. 30 minutes later, my mother-in-law, Patricia, called. Adriana, Gerald told me what happened. Please, you have to understand, he's desperate. The restaurant is his dream. Patricia, he committed fraud. It was a mistake. He didn't understand that you'd be so upset. He understood perfectly. That's why he did it behind my back instead of asking me. Can't you just let it go? Pretend it didn't happen? The loan was denied anyway, so no harm done. No harm? He tried to steal my assets. He lied to a bank. He committed a felony. There's enormous harm. But he's family. So am I. I'm your daughter-in-law. I'm Cameron's wife. But Gerald didn't care about that when he decided to use my properties without permission. You're going to destroy this family over money. No. Gerald tried to destroy this family by committing fraud. I'm just refusing to be a victim. She hung up on me. The DA's office filed charges 3 weeks later. Loan application fraud. A second-degree felony carrying 2 to 20 years in prison and up to $10,000 in fines. Gerald hired a lawyer who immediately tried to negotiate. It was a misunderstanding. First-time offense. He's willing to apologize. My lawyer, because yes, I'd hired my own attorney, responded. He committed fraud using my client's assets without permission. She's willing to accept a plea deal that includes full restitution, a formal apology, and a criminal record. We settled on a plea. Gerald pled guilty to a reduced charge of criminal fraud. Got 2 years deferred adjudication, which meant no jail time if he stayed clean. $5,000 fine. 200 hours of community service. And a formal written apology admitting what he'd done. The apology letter arrived 6 weeks after his sentencing. 3 sentences. No actual contrition. Just technically fulfilling the court order. Cameron and I haven't spoken to his parents in 8 months. They tell extended family we ruined Gerald's life over a simple mistake. We tell people he committed fraud and faced consequences. My rental properties are doing great. I refinanced 2 of them at lower rates. Raised rents on all 4 to match market rates. My annual rental income is now $86,000 before expenses. I'm looking at a 5th property. A small apartment building with 6 units. The numbers work. Cameron supports every decision. He's never asked to be on my deeds. Never suggested my properties are ours. He respects that I built this before him, and it remains mine. That's what real family looks like. My name is Adriana Flores. I own 4 rental properties in Austin worth approximately $1.3 million. I built this portfolio over 6 years through sacrifice, strategy, and smart investing. When my father-in-law tried to use my properties to secure a loan he didn't qualify for, I didn't stay quiet. I told the bank the truth. I filed a police report. I pressed charges. Because fraud is fraud, even when it's family. Especially when it's family. Gerald learned that the expensive way. A criminal record, a $5,000 fine, and a son who won't speak to him. Some people think family means unlimited access to each other's assets. I think family means respecting boundaries and ownership. Gerald violated both. And now he knows, my properties have my name on the deeds. Not his. Not family. Mine. And that's exactly how they'll stay.